Alexandra Eala handed nightmare draw at the Australian Open with 3 Grand Slam champions awaiting her. Alexandra Eala will play her very first Australian Open main draw match this year, following her rise up the rankings in 2025. Eala reached the quarterfinals of the ASB Classic to begin the year, which helped her reach a career ranking high of world number 49. The Filipina has never previously qualified for the Australian Open, having lost in the qualifying stages over the past 2 years. Eala has found out her first-round opponent at the Australian Open, and her projected route looks incredibly tricky. Alexandra Eala's tough route at the Australian Open. Eala faces a difficult first-round match against American Alicia Parks at the Australian Open, a player who has previously been ranked as high as world number 40 on the WTA Tour. Should the 20-year-old find a way past the American, she will likely be rewarded with a tough second-round match with Karolina Muchova. The Czechia star has been as high as world number 8 and is a former Grand Slam finalist at Roland Garros in 2023. Likely matches with Emma Navarro, as well as her former doubles partner Coco Gauff, could also be on the cards if she navigates far enough through the tournament. Eala has also been drawn in the same side of the draw as Mira Andreeva, Aryna Sabalenka, and Jasmine Paolini. Alexandra Eala's appearance at her home tournament could be on the cards. Eala's lack of seeding at the Australian Open has given her an incredibly tough ride at the first Grand Slam of the year, but there could be a wrinkle of positivity for the 20-year-old. The star has been given a wild card for the historic Philippine Women's Open at the end of January, which is the first ever WTA tournament to be held in Eala's home country. Eala can only play the tournament if she doesn't reach the second round of the Australian Open, which is looking more likely thanks to her tough draw. The star could suffer a disappointing early exit at the Grand Slam, but it would allow her to play the Manila tournament, where she would likely be one of the overwhelming favorites. Donna Vekic is one of the biggest stars currently advertised for the Philippine Women's Open, a player Eala has already beaten twice in 2026. Alexandra Eala and the draw that bared its teeth. The Australian Open draw is usually a ceremony of polite applause and measured smiles, a ritual that pretends tennis is orderly. Names fall into neat brackets, lines connect, and possibility is wrapped in pastel optimism. But for Alexandra Eala, the draw this year did not whisper promise. It showed teeth. 3 Grand Slam champions waited for her in the maze, legends whose names echo through Rod Laver Arena like permanent fixtures. It was the kind of draw that sports writers love to call a nightmare, a word heavy with implication, inevitability, doom, the sense that youth has wandered too early into the lion's den. Yet nightmares, when examined closely, are rarely just about fear. They are about thresholds. Eala arrived in Melbourne carrying more than rackets and luggage. She carried the expectations of a nation that has learned to dream quietly in tennis, a country better known for boxing gloves and basketball courts than baseline rallies under the sun. Every step she took onto Australian soil was already symbolic. To be there at all was an argument against history. And then came the draw. 3 Grand Slam champions, 3 women who had lifted trophies under confetti, who had bent seasons to their will, who had learned how to win even on days when nothing worked. Players who knew how to slow time, how to make a stadium hold its breath. Players who had stared down pressure so often it had learned to blink first. For Eala, the draw was less a path and more a gauntlet. But youth has its own weapons, often underestimated because they are invisible. It has unfamiliarity. It has audacity. It has the dangerous tendency to believe that names are just letters and that reputations don't bleed. In the locker room, posters of past champions line the walls. Faces smiling forever, frozen in triumph. For most players, they are reminders of how far away greatness is. For Eala, they may have felt closer, close enough to touch, close enough to challenge. After all, idols stop being abstract the moment you share a court with them. The phrase, "nothing to lose," is often used lazily in sport, but in Eala's case it carried a sharper truth. The draw had already decided what the world expected. Every forehand winner would be a bonus. Every hold of serve, a small rebellion. Every extended rally, proof that she belonged in the conversation, not just the bracket. Nightmare draws are supposed to crush confidence. Instead, they can clarify purpose. Against a Grand Slam champion, you do not play for approval. You play for survival. You simplify. You fight for every point as if it were a statement, not a statistic. You learn quickly that legends are human up close, that they breathe heavier in the fifth game, that they glance at their box when momentum wavers, that even champions sometimes hope rather than know. Eala's journey through this draw was never just about advancing rounds. It was about exposure, about being seen under the harshest lights tennis can offer. Melbourne does not hide flaws. The sun exposes footwork, the courts punish hesitation, and the crowds sense fear the way sharks sense blood. But they also sense courage. Each match against a champion became a conversation across generations. Experience spoke in patterns and patience. Youth replied with speed, angles, and the stubborn refusal to yield. Even when the scoreboard leaned heavily one way, there were moments, fleeting, electric, when the future announced itself. And those moments matter. Tennis history is full of players who lost early before they learned how to win late. It is full of first rounds that looked like endings but were actually beginnings. Nightmare draws, in retrospect, often read like prologues. For Alexandra Eala, the Australian Open did not offer comfort. It offered contrast. It placed her next to greatness and asked a simple, brutal question. How close are you? The answer was not found in trophies or headlines. It was found in the steadiness of her serve under pressure, in the way she chased down shots she had no right to reach, in the refusal to let reputation dictate reality. It was found in the quiet after matches, when learning begins. 3 Grand Slam champions stood in her way. They did not move aside. They did not need to. Because the true gift of the draw was not a clear path, it was a clear mirror. It showed Eala where she was and, more importantly, where she could go. Nightmares end when you wake up. But some are meant to be walked through, eyes open, racket in hand, heart racing but unbroken. In Melbourne, Alexandra Eala did not wake up from the nightmare. She stepped into it, and left with something far more valuable than an easy win: belief, earned the hard way.